April 19th, 1989, 28-year-old investment banker Trisha Miley was on her evening run when she was brutally attacked. She'd suffered multiple skull fractures, had mild amnesia, lost about 80% of her blood, as well as her sense of smell and balance. She was dragged off of her running trail to a near ravine and left to die. Now, have you ever witnessed such tragedies to such proportion? How would you feel if you were placed on the jury for an innocent woman fighting for her life due to the careless actions of a psychopath? Not only would you seek justice, but you would seek to make her happy, and that's exactly what juror number 1 of her trial had said, because her life is quote unquote ruined. Now, April 19th, 1989, a group of about 30 boys gathered in Central Park and were roaming around, or wilding as some would call it. The next day, when Miley's body was found, the police had gathered all 30 boys and taken them down to the police station for questioning. Out of those 30 boys, 5 of them, with no prior knowledge of each other, had somehow become the prime suspects of her case. Antron McCray, Kevin Richardson, Raymond Santana, Yusef Salaam, and Corey Wise were all just young boys when this case began to unfold before their eyes. The oldest, Corey Wise, was just 16 at the time, but when he got convicted, he spent 12 years behind bars in federal prison due to his age. The youngest, Kevin Richardson, was 12 at the time, and he had spent 5.5 years, as well as Raymond spending 5.5 years. But given that they were under the age of 16, they couldn't be convicted as adults, and they spent those years in juvenile facilities. Antron McCray and Yusef Salaam also spent their years at juvenile facilities, but spent 7 years. Back to Corey. While he was in prison, he had coincidentally met the true perpetrator of the crime. But first, when they first met, they were at Auburn Correctional, and they'd gotten into a scuffle about what was on the TV in the cafeteria. A couple years later, when Corey was moved to Rikers Island, so was the other man. They had soon became friends, and when the perpetrator did confess to the crime in 2002, he felt like it was just the right thing to do. Matias Reyes was the true committer of the crime. He was a serial rapist that was in jail at the time for 33 years to lifetime for a completely unrelated rape and assault. After he confessed to this crime, the boys were exonerated in 2002, and in 2014 received a $41 million settlement from the government. And then conclusion. Conclusion. Even though there are multiple